Arnold, Steve, The Rock, they all had massive 19 inches of arms, maybe even bigger. Can you have them? The short answer is no. The long one is no because of your genetics, mainly. And even if it is not satisfying by Google terms, if you have 15 inches of arms, it is considered big. 14 and a half. Fuck. But you can still redeem yourself. It is not going to change your genetics, but it is sure as hell nice to have bigger arms because it gives you a more of a gym bro look, just by packing on everything that your genetics lets you. But there is a little problem. You will probably fall into the bigger arm guy trap. It only means that if a guy has bigger arm, they have more credibility and know more than you. Simple, right? If Arnold tells you to do compounds and pull-ups, that's going to be great for your biceps, you're going to listen. If someone with big arms tells you to use another guy's exercise with big arms, you're going to listen. But what if they grew their arms despite their knowledge? Genetic advantage. That's probably something that you don't have, especially if you are watching this video. If you're not one of them, since you are watching this video, you're probably not, it is not going to be enough for you, and it is also not going to work. For bigger arms you need two things, biceps and triceps, and the brachialis, but I'm just going to say that it belongs to the biceps. And the first thing you need to do is look at your training program. If you start your push day with a bench press or any kind of variation of that, cross it, change it to a triceps exercise. Good, now you have a triceps focused day. If your back day or pull day starts with a pull up or some kind of a pull down, cross it, change it to any kind of biceps exercise. Good. Now you have a whole arm focused training plan. And you don't have to slam in arm exercise on a leg day, because let's be honest, your leg needs some help anyway. Actually, designing a training plan has quite a few nuances, but this is the first step. Second, you need to pick actual exercises and not some Instagram horseshit. For triceps, you need one where your arm is next to your side and one where it is angled away. Does the angle matter? Look, if there is a scale from 1 inch all the way to the super massive rare 6 inches, then it is going to be closer to 1. It only matters that much. It's not much. For biceps, you have the short head and the long head. Now imagine them. Now imagine them contracting separately. Now I've come to the realization that it won't happen. So you only have biceps and brachialis. You need an exercise where lowers the bottom, so it's around here when your arm is extended, and another one where it's around mid-range. It's most of the biceps exercises. That's where the biceps tend to suck a bit more. And for the brachialis, you're not going to guess it, but you only need a hammer curl. That's pretty much it. It's a funny thing, but the brachialis is a way stronger elbow flexor, or a muscle that pans your arm up, than the biceps. So if you are way stronger for your hammer curl, you don't have to think that you have some kind of problem. That's not just normal. That's how it should be. And now comes the exercises. Triceps push down. It is really difficult to fuck it up. All you need to do is keep your arm next to your side. It doesn't have to be glued to it. It can be just naturally flared away. It is still going to be mainly the long head of the triceps. The other two are always going to be involved because that's all they can do. Get your arm straight. Now, why am I saying that you don't have to glue it next to your side? This was a really old-fashioned bodybuilder tip. That's what I got and used back in the day, but it's uncomfortable. The only thing that matters is what's happening at your shoulder angle. As long as it is next to your side, it is going to be long head of the triceps. And you can use different loading. It only means that where the exercise gets harder. And if you are using a cable, that's pretty much what you are going to use anyway, then it's always going to be around 90 degrees. If you step away from the cable, it is going to be a bit different. But you can't really change it that much, so it is always going to be around mid to short range. Now some people say that the reverse grip triceps push down doesn't make any sense. And they are kind of right. Now it is more comfortable in your joints, and it is more natural because of the wrist position, but it is also your wrist that is going to give up faster than your long, big triceps. The only long and big thing on your body. Angle triceps extension. It can be cable, barbell, dumbbell, even machines. It doesn't actually matter. It is still going to train the medial and the lateral head of the triceps. And if you have a really slight elevation or angle here, it is going to involve your long head a bit more. But we don't actually care about that because we covered it in the beginning. If you are using dumbbell, barbell or cable, changing the angle of the bench can help you get a bit different loadings. It's not going to be at 90 degrees, it is going to be a bit lower, or it is going to be a bit higher. But at the end of the day, how much it matters? It actually matters a lot. But only when you are hitting plateau. Any close grip bench press is going to train the lateral and the medial head of your triceps. Is it going to be enough? Maybe. Is it going to be great? Maybe. Do you have a freaky arm genetics? Maybe not. But I would never dismiss an exercise where you're not ridiculously good. And this takes us to biceps. If you don't have a preacher curl in your bicep training, then you are missing out. By far, this is the best exercise you can do because it is training and loading the biceps where they are the best. And this is always at the bottom. Now, you can work the way up to fully extending your arms. So you can start with not fully extending, just stopping a bit before that, so you can train yourself before you get to that point. But you are not going to tear your biceps as long as you are not blasting your ass cheeks with all kind of pointy things. And if you do, you're probably not going to fully extend your arm. If you get any wrist, shoulder, elbow pain, it is because you are not in line. I know you are trying to bias the short head or the long head, but you came to the realization that it is not going to happen. The only thing you are biasing is where you are getting the pain, in your wrist, elbow, or your shoulders. So stop it. And the regular biceps curl. You can do it standing, seated. There is really not much to it. As long as you are not jerking, wanking the weight, skipping the bottom, and the biceps is the best, you're going to be fine. Also at the end, you don't have to touch your forehead. Consider load. It is only going to be shoulder and some upper chest. And I know you're going to feel a really strong contraction if you do that, but only because the biceps is over-shortening. But when a muscle over-shortens, it doesn't get any stimulus. It's just the boring biology behind it. I know you didn't ask, but you still get it. Now guess what? People with ridiculously good biceps, they can all curl 24 plus kilogram dumbbells, and that's already crazy. Hold a 24 kilogram dumbbell. Now imagine it curling. Just the thought is crazy and actually terrifying. Of course, it is not a coincidence they have big arms. It's because they are strong as well. And we went over everything for the biceps. For the brachialis, I prefer doing a crossbody hammer curl because it is a more natural position for your body. Because whenever you are keeping a neutral wrist position, it wants to curl next to your side, or at least towards your body. What am I saying? But you're not going to make a mistake by curling straight up. I'm just saying this is a preference and that's why I like it. Now the question is, how much thickness the brachialis is going to give for your biceps or your arms? I don't know. Some. But just because you don't know, you are not going to train it, it's probably a mistake. All you can do is try to do the best and get ridiculously strong. Where people look at you and think, what the hell? And then see what happens. After all, there is nobody who can tell what you can get out of your body anyway. And now you just need to pick 1 to 2 exercises for each and do it for 2 to 3 sets per training day. You should not train your arms every day. This is not the way. Fatigue is not a joke. Fatigue will slap you in the face, and when it finishes with you, you are going to call it daddy. Not to mention, biceps is really susceptible for fatigue because of the muscle damage aspect. And that sounds a bit nerdy. Oh, whatever. The only thing that matters is progression. You can't be a weak bitch and expect your arms to be bigger than they already are. So stick to your training program for 6 to 12 weeks, progress really hard in a hypertrophy rep range, you know I'm going to say 5 to 9, and that is going to work. The only reason I like it is because it's less fatigue, more muscle usage, it's easier to get to failure and progressing. And there are not going to be things that's stopping you like burning sensation. The only thing that will stop you is you failing the exercise. Now what does it mean? Am I telling you to stop focusing on mind-muscle connection, the contraction and all kind of feelings? Yes, I do. You need to come to the realization, and that took me some years as well, that in order to progress the weight, you can't force your focus on internal things. You have to clench your ass, bleed from your ears, and really try to squeeze out that last rep and increase the weight. And when that's your focus, you're not going to feel anything else, just existential pain. And you know what's worse? And you will still not have 19 inches of arms. But you will have the best arms that's possible for you genetically. Like, subscribe, talk to you in the next one.